Welcome to Educate, Inform, and Challenge. My name is Teresa MacLennan, Executive Director of the Women and Children's Shelter of Barrie. We are so glad that you have joined us here today. Of course, the purpose of our show is to talk about the life and experiences of women right here in our community, women in leadership, politics. Of course, we talk about the experiences of women who have experienced abuse and human trafficking. We really like to cover the stories that encompass women's lives and experiences. So we're always grateful that our community comes alongside us in these conversations. Before we begin, we do want to acknowledge and thank our Indigenous community. We thank you for allowing us to have these conversations, to share in knowledge building and community awareness. We thank you for allowing us to be on this traditional territory and to have these conversations. Thank you so much. So I am thrilled to welcome my guest today, Angela Baldwin, and we're going to be talking about a very active, dynamic woman in the community who provides leadership in her business life and also gives back to many agencies and initiatives, including us here at the Women and Children's Shelter. And we're very, very grateful for the partnership that we've had with Angela for many, many years. So welcome, Angela. I'm so excited to have a conversation with you today.
Oh, thanks, Teresa.
Yeah. So
Happy to be here.
great. Yeah, I'm happy to have you. So I know that you wear many, many hats in the community. And so would you like to just share some of who you are with our viewers so they can get to know you a bit more?
Sure. So I'm a longtime Barrie resident. My family moved here from England when I was 5. So I'm one of those few people that have seen a lot of change in the community, but a lot of incredible positive change. When we moved, it was 26,000. Now we're, probably 180,000 plus. So, there's something about this community that makes people stay. And I think it's a combination of the people that live here, the water, the amenities, the recreation. I love all of that in this community. And as a result, I think I got myself very involved because when you're somewhere that's this vibrant and this lively and this beautiful, I think it's incumbent to give back. That is only going to make our community better, is going to make it more caring. And in the end, everybody benefits from that. So by background, Teresa, I'm a urban planner. So for those who don't know, it's my simple, there's a little bit of architecture, a little bit of engineering. We are the ones that deal with big land spaces and decide how it should be developed. So where will the houses go? Where will the commercial buildings go? Where will the schools go? The parks? We deal with those sort of big community issues. How are we going to deal with getting a transit hub? When Go Transit came to town, where does that go? So planners are the ones that get involved in all those really big picture decisions. So it's a fascinating job in that I get to switch from so many different disciplines in a day and deal with so many different consultants and people that just have an interest in maybe creating one lot all the way to, I used to work for a golf course company. We did golf courses and resorts, which was an incredible job. So in terms of, should I keep going on in terms of sort of what I've been involved with?
Yeah.
Okay. So in the community, I'm a big supporter of the arts. And, being a planner, we know how vibrant and important it is to have a vibrant downtown. And so to me, the arts is such an important part of a community. So I got involved earlier on with Theatre by the Bay. I was the chair of the board of directors for 7 years. And then I'm the current board chair of the board for Barrie Film Festival, another arts group in town. So we're like a mini Toronto Film Festival here in Barrie. And then I've been on different boards of directors, currently on the Barrie Community Foundation. I'm a member of Ripple of Kindness, Make Art Club. I run an event called the Toy Tea with a bunch of other people on our committee. Every year we raise money for children in the care of Simcoe Family Connections and also Gilda's Club. I've been involved with the Gilda's Lakeside Party for many years. Pretty much, many groups in town I've touched in one way or another through various projects or through donating my time. Redwood Park is another one that I'm really involved with in terms of the affordable housing crisis we have in our community. And that group has really tried to assist in creating affordable units that take our, people that are the most vulnerable in the community and housing them in respectful housing that allows them to turn their lives around. And I'm a really big believer in that. Start with housing, get rid of that insecurity, couple it with education and training, and then that gives people the best foundation to move on. So it's similar to the women's shelter in that I know some of the women that leave the shelter move into a Redwood facility for a limited amount of time. From there, they get, additional counseling and then get that education they need to, move on from there. I mean, there's some beautiful things happening in the community, and, it's hard for me to say no sometimes. So I've got involved in way more than I probably should sometimes, for my own timing. But sometimes you can't help yourself. I'm a really curious person. I love meeting people. I love finding out about different causes. And so as a result, you just get involved in a lot.
That's wonderful. And there's so much for us to unpack there. There's so many things that I want to talk to you about. So I kind of want to start at the beginning in terms of the urban planning. So is there any kind of projects or things locally here in Barrie that we would relate to in knowing that you had a hand in terms of your participation as an urban planner?
So within Barrie, so one project that was pretty cool, I thought, was the Redwood Park did a motel conversion project. So on Essa Road, where they took a 1950s um, rundown motel and converted it into individual suites that were affordable for, again, vulnerable people in our community. And that one I'm really proud of. I assisted them with planning and site plan work to get to the stage where it could open, and assisted them with some fundraising. And another one is on Lillian Crescent, where a 12-unit apartment building is being constructed right now for families to move into. So those are my two like really feel-good charity projects that I've been involved with from the planning side.
Yeah.
In terms of some other ones, the Holly planning area, which is in the south end of Barrie, that was about 1,200 acres. So we did the master planning. So I was with a consultant in Barrie at that time, and we did the master planning for that entire area, housing about 16,000 residents. That was an amazing project. So we took land that was raw. There was maybe a couple of farms at the time, and now you drive by and it's a series of homes and schools and churches, and it's sort of a community within our larger center of Barrie. So those are some of the projects. I mean, there's many others, but those two are some of the bigger ones that come to mind.
And very much like you, I am born and raised in Barrie, and so have seen growing up the changes that have happened. And I remember the Holly community the way that it used
Yeah.
to be when I attended elementary school here. And like so many areas, most if not all areas in the city of Barrie, we've progressed, we've we've continued our growth and what the future looks like, right? And it is wonderful, and it is a great city that we live in. And I think it is just really wonderful for our viewers to know your hand in making some of those really significant things come into play. And certainly for our viewers, we're very appreciative of Redwood Park for that one building that they have where they can offer space to us. And I think our viewers know also that we have our own transitional homes as well, that we are able to transition women from the shelter and in the community as well to be able to live there in safe and secure, affordable housing. And so housing is such a great need, and I just really appreciate your input to that and your expertise in terms of urban planning and how that needs to look. So it's an incredible journey, a very busy life. I feel a little bit exhausted already talking to you about all the things that you have going on. And I'm very curious about when you were a young girl and you were thinking about what does my career path look like? Is this where you saw yourself, or did you have different dreams and goals for yourself?
So I love languages. So I always thought I would be an interpreter at one time, sort of a French English interpreter, because I love French in high school and I love travel. But my father was a builder. So my father was a custom builder, renovator. And he used to take my sister and I, on the construction sites, and we used to have to clean up houses for, 25 cents. But it was great. I actually loved it. I loved seeing building. I loved walking into an unfinished house and visualizing what it could look like. And then from there, I had an incredible geography teacher in high school that I have to give a shout out to, that he was so creative in terms of some of the projects he had us work on. So he would actually give us maps of what the city used to look like in one community. We'd have to walk the streets, and we would have to mark up the drawings as to how it changed in the last 25 years. And I found that fascinating, and that's planning. And in planning, we project ahead, we project 20, 25 years ahead, and have to think about what is the community going to need based on demographics, age, income levels, so many different stats we have to look at. And then from there, predict, okay, so Barrie needs more of this. We're a younger community in terms of a lot of children, so we tend to have more rec centers maybe than certain other communities may need. Others may need more walking paths. I mean, not that we don't need them, we absolutely do, but you try to focus in on what the residents need the most. So that's what got me interested in planning. And nobody knew what it was. When I told everybody I was going to school for that, everybody kind of looked at me like, what is that? And it's maybe not the best known profession, but what I say to people is um, every single move you make each day in a community was created by planners and engineers together. The hospital isn't there by chance in that location. The Georgian College isn't by chance in that location. It was all well thought out to, maximize visibility, traffic flow, being close to residential, that people could walk to those facilities. So there's a lot that goes into it, which I found fascinating.
I think it is really helpful information for all of us to know about the importance of urban planning. So I really appreciate the knowledge that you're sharing with all of us, right? And so I want to dive in deeper. I really want to talk to you about just your own personal journey as a woman in business, a leader in the community, maybe some of the hiccups, some of the learnings, some of the barriers that you might have experienced or not. So we are going to dive into just a very quick break. And when we come back, we're going to continue this great conversation with Angela Baldwin. So please stay with us and we will be right back. Welcome back to Educate, Inform, and Challenge. We're having a great conversation with Angela Baldwin, and she is really helping us to understand the importance of urban planning. And so we're going to dive right back into that conversation. So, Angela, you gave us a really great explanation about how important it is for the planning about cities, what goes where, the importance, what is the trend in the city, what is the makeup of the city that it's structures meet those needs, right? And so, do you think that urban planning is an area that women typically look to in terms of a career choice?
Well, you know what's really great? So right now there is at least a 50-50 split of male female in the industry. So I love that. In fact, our city planning department, City of Barrie, is led by women, director, managers. There's a lot of women at high levels in the planning department, which, I think is wonderful because that is encouraging to young women that looked at this as a career possibility to see, how far they could rise. When I began, the split was definitely different. It was maybe 25-75, let's say. And then, so there's different facets of planning. You can go and work at the government level, so either provincial, federal, municipal, or you can work in the private sector. I went into the private sector and I specifically went into land development planning. Now that was very male dominated early in the days. So there were some meetings I went to where I was the only female in a room of 20 people. And that was challenging when you're young, right out of school, and you're trying to have your voice heard, yet, you're still learning the craft. It takes a bit of time to get to the level where you can be strong and, really speak for your client's best interests and have them listen, have everyone listen.
And so how did you navigate that? How did you? Because I think that that could be some really helpful advice for a young woman who might be listening right now thinking, I'm dealing with that right now and it's so hard.
I think you have to be really well prepared when you come to meetings. Research, make sure that you are the best informed person in the room. Because if you are, then you're going to be confident because you have researched the heck out of it and you know exactly what you're talking about. So when someone challenges you or questions you, you can stay very strong in your position. And so then that's how you build respect. And so respect, in our industry is so important because a lot of what we do is opinion. 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4 in planning. We rely on opinions, interpretations of policies. And so you have to have built up a respect that people kind of listen to you and go, okay, she or he knows what they're talking about. And we're going to kind of, we're convinced that this is a great answer, let's say. So be really well prepared. Stand your ground. I mean, you have to in any job, if you know you're right, stand your ground and, find your mentors as well. I mean, in my early days, I had some great male mentors. My first job was with a planning consulting in Barrie, and I was their first employee. So it was myself and my boss, and he was amazing. I learned so much. He was so willing to help me in terms of, because at school, you learn the esoteric side of it, and you learn how to think and how to problem solve and how to challenge, but you don't learn the dynamics of the day-to-day operation in our craft, let's say. So he was very good at helping me with that, how to write a planning report properly, how to write a zoning bylaw properly. These are things we don't learn that in university, but we learn that on the job. So find your mentors and really, try to glean as much from them as you can, because most people are willing to help you and teach. If you only just take the time, just ask questions, ask questions. I mean, it doesn't mean that, you don't know what you're talking about. It means that you're smart enough to ask the question and not, well, try to, I'll figure it out later. And then you make a mistake. That's not good. That's not good at all, especially in this. We have to be precise.
It sounds like there's really a lot of opportunity, like different avenues you could go in terms of that career choice for urban planning, isn't there?
Oh, there's a ton of avenues that you can go. You could work at a conservation authority. You can work at a ministry, let's say environment, natural resources. You could work for an environmental consulting company. That there's just so much. School boards hire planners. So we're in a unique position right now where there's a lot of job opportunities. And it's the type of job where you have to be on the ground. So it's not going to be outsourced, like some careers can be. And I think that because we also are, we deal with the presentations at council meetings, we're the ones that are there answering all the questions from council members. Like you have to be in the seat answering the questions and be quick on your feet. So I think it's a career that has a long history, let's say, that it'll have a long, if you get into it now, you're not going to not have a career in 10 years, I don't believe. So there's great opportunities. And I go to elementary schools. So in their geography unit, they do World Town Planning Day, and they learn a little bit about planning. And I love it. So I go in and I talk to them about what we do and We talk about how does sewage flow from your toilet into the sewage system. Kids don't know this. It's not just magic. There's a whole series of underground pipes that make this happen. And I try to teach them a little bit about things that maybe, they can understand. I'm not trying to go into big picture, but I always think if I convince one child to maybe get interested in this career or engineering or architecture, I think I've done my job.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And so another avenue where all of your expertise comes into play is with the work with the charities that you do. And so I know that there is many of them. And I know that you would really love always an opportunity to highlight some of those charities. So let's talk about that, your involvement in charity work, why that is important to you, and what is close to your heart in terms of the things that you get involved in.
Well, I feel very fortunate, that I have a great career, have a great life, wonderful family. And, yes, I did work hard, but I also had some luck. I think a mentor told me a while ago, anyone who knows that where they are now is based on a little bit of luck is more apt to give. And so he said, luck as in my family moved here to Canada from England so that we would all get a university education. My father felt that we didn't have as much a chance back in England because of cost, etc. So that did come true for all of us. And then a bit of luck that I happened to, up the street lived a planner. I got my first job because he lived on my street. I went up and chatted with him and said, "Hey, I've just graduated school. I'm looking for a job." A bit of luck that my next job, which was amazing with the golf course company, it just happened in terms of timing and all of that. So I think that you're compelled, I believe, in some way to give back. Um, and in planning, as a planner, because we're trained in such a wide variety of disciplines, I think that working on boards, like we're good problem solvers. We're very good problem solvers. That's part of what we have to do every day. And so I love, when, I mean, certainly we're not solving major corporate issues, if you will, but in charity groups, you do have to figure out especially how can you maximize what you do with the limited funds that are available? Because Teresa, as well as many groups, that they run on a very thin budget. And hats off to groups like yourself where your staff, that do this. I mean, they're not making these massive corporate wages. You're doing it because you care and you believe in it. And I respect that a lot. So, I get involved with groups, especially like that I feel are maximizing the impact they're having on the community. Because, for example, the transitional housing project you mentioned that I got involved with, and we got them with my friend Elias Messias from so as an interior designer and myself as a planner, we came together and we thought, okay, can we get involved in this project? And we had a great time shopping for all the furniture for it, but it's the fact that many families are going to transition through that and it is going to change lives. And wow, that's powerful. That's powerful. And not that and people have a misconception about charity. They think that they have to do so much. I started out just volunteering for the CNIB. That was my very first charity work I did. And then it just got to, it's sort of what are you interested in? Because of whether it's animals or children's rights or women's issues, if you're passionate about that, you'll be a great volunteer. And you don't have to put in 100 hours a month. You can put in a 1 hour a week. You could just volunteer at a one-off event. That's how you start. But I think once you start, you get hungry for more because it makes you feel good as well. You know, I get more probably than I give out, I think sometimes. I just, that you've made a difference. And I mean, to me, that's part of, I think, why we're here on this earth is to make a difference.
And we are incredibly grateful for your support with our transitionary homes. And, we feel like we needed to do our part in helping women and their kids to have a safe lives. When you
Hmm.
feel worthy to be in something really lovely like that. And so we're so grateful to you and Leah for that support, because it has changed lives. And so it's
Yeah.
just really great. I always love an opportunity for me to use this forum to thank our guests when, they do such incredible things, not just for our agency, but for so many. So to that vein, I think we probably have about 3 minutes left, Angela. Our time
Okay.
goes by so fast.
Yeah.
Is there, in the other charities that you're involved in, are there any initiatives or charities that you really want to give a shout out to the community to say they could really use your help, get behind them, outside of us, other charities? How would you like to highlight maybe a couple of those?
Whichever Redwood Park, I mean, that's near and dear to my heart because of the affordable housing matter. And I think as planners, I think we have to come up with some solutions to the problem. Eh, You know, um, because we can make a difference. I mean, I'm only one voice and I'm not on the government side, but we can at least talk to our colleagues that are in government, and they're the ones that create the policies to try to encourage it. So already there's some great initiatives at the city. There's been some monies that they've received, and this is really exciting for the community and what that could lead to. That's a huge one for me. And then the arts. I always say to people, let's not forget about the arts, because great cities are created by the arts. People don't go to Rome, um, you know, necessarily to play a hockey game or something like that. And I'm big into sports and fitness, so I love it all. But arts has created these wonderful cities all over the world. And whether it is, visual art, dance, performing arts, um, even if you just buy a $10 ticket to every film festival movie, you've supported the arts. And not every kid, you know, there's kids out there that the only reason they stay in high school is because of the arts. They get into drama, they get into music, and this is what resonates with them, and it's keeping them in high school and getting educated. We need to be supporting that more. I'm a big believer in that as well. That there's a lot, there's so much. I mean, there's basic needs, housing and food. I understand that, and then there's the bigger community needs. So I try to, I walk across all those facets because I believe in all of it, that it creates a complete community.
Thank you so much, Angela. It was a pleasure to talk with you today, and I just really appreciate all of the important things that you do for so many in our community, and it makes such an incredible difference. And so we will share your contact information if anybody would like to access your knowledge or your services for urban planning. So we will definitely share that. And to our community, thank you so much for being with us here today. Thank you again for watching Educate, Inform, and Challenge, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Thanks, Teresa. Bye.
Bye.